Kyle Steele here, Councilman-elect for Norman City Council, Ward 6. And before I get into the main summary, I didn't want to talk about the City Council conference that happened just before the main City Council meeting. In this conference, it was discussed about a potential moratorium on data centers. The general consensus is that the council appears to be in support of this for about 6 to 12 months while the issue is studied by staff. Since this may be something that I might be involved in, once I'm sworn in, since 6 to 12 months would still be within my tenure, I'll just give my personal stance on data centers real quick. And to put it simply, I'm just totally against data centers being Norman in any way, shape, or form. I think their cost to both the community and the local environment far outweigh any potential benefits, of which, again, I personally feel there are few to begin with. I'll do a separate video on this once I'm sworn in, but if supported by Ward 6 residents, then I would just push for a total ban on data centers, be an ordinance or something similar. Now, as far as the main City Council meeting that happened on May 26th, 2026, it lasted for about 4 hours. As usual, I'll be putting the timestamp and agenda packet in the description down below. And also, as usual, the proclamations, awards, and the consent docket did go as expected. There was an item pulled from the consent docket regarding a potential tax rebate for Sooner Mall that will be talked about in the next City Council meeting on June 9th. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about that, I would email your council member between now and then. The first item on the non-consent docket was regarding the budget. This was the second required public meeting and will be next discussed on June 9th for final adoption at that City Council meeting. The next two items that were discussed were for various land uses and references that needed to be corrected in city documents. This was just for additional clarity and to resolve errors, and these were passed unanimously. The next two items on the consent docket were for an expansion of the mosque that is run by the Islamic Society of Norman on Lindsay near OU campus. Essentially, this is something that they've been wanting to do for a while now, but been going through the city process, and it's just finally at the City Council level. This was also approved unanimously. Next was a SPUD for a mixed-use commercial and residential development on West Robinson, just west of I-35, right next to the Waffle House, if you know where that is. What's unique about this is essentially this is an already existing office building that is being converted into residential apartments with a little bit of a coffee shop or something in the ground floor. A pretty interesting concept, actually. Essentially taking office spaces that they've been unable to rent out and just turning them into residentials for people who are looking for apartments or smaller living spaces. Hey, personal note, hey, big plus, big supporter of that. Hope we see more of that concept in the future. Item 30 on the non-consent docket was another housekeeping item to clean up city documents that essentially passed unanimously. Item 31 was for a TIF Reform ordinance to make the process a bit more open and add some more steps. This is one of the pressure points that people didn't like about the Rock Creek Entertainment District TIF, or the Arena and Entertainment District TIF as it's commonly known as. Candidly, I don't think that this was the main point. I still think that there's a big lingering issue about the vote of the people with that TIF. However, this did address some concerns, and it could be a good starting point. This is kind of something that they can get codified into an ordinance and then amended as time goes on as needed. This did pass 6-2 with council members Gansberry and Hinkle voting against it. And on the final item for the non-consent docket was another housekeeping item regarding the guest room tax, essentially just clarifying it and making the process clearer for those getting tax exemptions, and this also passed unanimously. As far as public comment, it mostly centered around the Sooner Mall tax rebate, since that was a pulled from discussion, as well as TIF reform that was just passed very shortly before. After the public comment ended, then the meeting ended as usual. And with that being said, if you have any questions or concerns or want to talk to me about local issues, please don't hesitate to contact me at KyleForNorman@gmail.com. Still monitoring that email, and I'm always available for those who want to talk about these local issues. Thank you. Have a good day.